Hi everyone, this week you'll be developing a module that contains a complete learning experience for students. So the difference between online and blended or hybrid and a face-to-face class is you don't have just files put into modules, you have context behind everything in the course. You have some text describing why it's there, what to do with it, just so students who are learning online have a complete learning experience. So you want to start out with, and it works best to have a page, an introduction to your course, your module outcome that relates to your course outcome. So whatever module outcome that you selected in week 1, you want to have some text like describing what's happening that week, what students are learning. A little bit you can relate it to the real world, add presence as an instructor, and an image. So when you're editing in the new rich content editor in Canvas, I know that not all institutions have this enabled yet, but it's basically just like Word. You can bold and you can link to things and bullet items, and for accessibility it's best to use paragraph or headings, and also the bulleted items rather than bulleting and numbering using this icon rather than trying to manually do it is more accessible. And what the difference in this new editor versus the old one is the hyperlink. You can go to external links like a website or course links, which means anything you've created within your course. And also for images, that's a little different too. It just looks like mountains with the sun. You can upload an image. You can go to images that are already in your course. So if I click upload an image though, it's a little bit strange. You can add a URL to an image that's online, that you basically, if you have copyright permission to do that. Or this Unsplash is copyright free images that you can search for. So that's really the quickest way to add an image, is to search for an image and find one to add. I'll just add college. So you can add any of these images. I've used this one just recently. There's college students. So basically these are free from copyright, and there's pages and pages of images that you can select. And the nice thing about using that is it adds alternative text already, and you don't have to worry about copyright. So other than starting off with an introduction to the module and its outcome, you want to have instruction, of course, and in this course, it's on pages. So we have instruction on pages, and you want to have practice and feedback, which in this course, it's discussions where you're discussing and getting feedback from others, possibly feedback from me as the instructor. And other ways to have practice and feedback, you may have online tutorials that give students an answer. They can check the back of the book if you let them know. There's practice quizzes. There's all different ways for practice and feedback, but you need to have instruction within the module and practice and feedback opportunities, at least one, and then an assessment at the end, which in this course it is a self-assessment, but we're checking as facilitators and making sure that you're meeting the outcome. So this could be an actual quiz. It could be an assignment that students are submitting. And then for discussions, once you create them, if you click edit, it still has the same rich content editor. And if you want it graded, you have to select that as an option. And once you do that, it will allow you to put a point value in. And the due date is basically when it's due. If you want to lock a discussion and where students can't get to it until a certain date and can't get to it after a certain date, it's not very common, but you can put those dates in there too. So it's automatically assigned to everybody, and you just have to put a due date. But for this course, you don't have to put dates at all. I just wanted to let you know you can put a date, and you put in your discussion prompt up here and select if it's graded, because ungraded might be a questions and answer discussion or just a practice activity. So those are the settings for discussions. And for quizzes, the same thing. When you go to edit a quiz, you have an instructional area and you can select if it's graded or a practice quiz, and there's also a survey option. And there's some settings depending on if you want students to be able to take the quiz just once or multiple times. You can have where one question is shown at a time. It's nicer if you have them all, if you don't select that, because then students can review before they submit the entire quiz, if you can have that option. And then the questions are by selecting the questions tab, plus new question allows you to add a question. And the auto-graded options like multiple choice and true and false are first, but there's some other more complex types of questions. And the big thing to know about, a couple of big things to know about when you're working on quiz questions is it'll always default to the correct answer being the first option, but you wouldn't want that. If you're really having a multiple choice test, you can change the correct answer to whatever option, whatever order you put the correct answer in. And then another big thing to know is there's two buttons when you're working on a quiz to save things. When you edit a question, you want to click update question and then the save button at the bottom, which saves the overall quiz. So make sure that you update the question and save. If you want students to submit an individual assignment, which we don't have in this course, you would just create an assignment. And let's say it's your accessible syllabus. And then you edit that and put the instructions for the assignment in the instructions area, put the point value, but select online for the submission type. And you can have students submit a text entry, a website, a media recording like a video, or a file upload. So if it's a Word document, it would be a file upload, but maybe I want to allow somebody to submit their online syllabus. And then it does allow you to, it automatically assigns it to everybody just like a discussion, and you can put a due date and you can lock it to, but most instructors just use the due date, and dates are not required in this training, and then you just select save. Once you click on modules, you can go to the three vertical dots on the right and indent items that you add. You can see if it's published or not. If it has a circle with a line through it, it's not published. If it has a green check, it is. So for students to access any of the module content, the module itself has to be published, and each item within it should be published. So the goal of an instructional module is a complete learning experience that's contained within that module. So starting from the beginning, students know what they're learning, and then they're learning it, practicing and obtaining feedback on it, and then at the end they're assessed on what they've learned, basically the module outcome.